1 2 1 2. We back. A lot of technical things going on in here. Peace and blessings. Welcome to Conversations with Malik. I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, to like us on the Facebook page, Conversations with Malik. Please like us on the Facebook page, Conversations with Malik. And we got a lot of nice stuff coming up. And like I said, we're in the process of building our studios. I'm real excited. Building the website. We got a lot of good things going on. And so part of what I'm doing is just to build the momentum, to give you guys a lot of idea of the spiritual insight and things that's going to be going on with the show and what we're doing. And so I got some more questions this week. And one of the questions that I got, it was a powerful question. The person, they saw one of the past episodes that I did, and the question and the topic of it was, who am I? And so they asked me, they said, well, who are you? I see you did a show about who am I? They said, well, who are you, Malik? And it's somebody that liked my page, and I want to thank you for that question, because that's a powerful question. And questions are also are inventory based. When I ask a question, questions cause one to look inward, because I got to look inward for the answer. And it gets me to think, and it gets me to search spiritually. So who am I? Who's Malik? And I can maybe start out answering that by answering who I'm not. But before I get into to who I'm not, just a little background on me. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. Grew up in Jamaica, Queens. I grew up in Rochdale. Grew up with a loving family. Very supportive, very spiritual household. Played football, basketball, baseball all year round, right? Good kid, did good in school, got good grades. Something happened in my life around the time my father died. Father passed away from lung cancer. And I know, if anybody's ever lost anybody from cancer, anybody ever lost anybody from cancer, that's a traumatic experience. That's a powerful experience. To lose somebody to that disease. It really is. It's devastating to watch somebody that you love shrivel away and die, especially for a young teenage kid. So for me, what happened was I became very bitter. Now, I'm somebody that grew up in the church. My mother was a pastor. Pastor Taretha Turnish. My mother was a pastor. Some of the preachers and pastors that you see on TV with big congregations, they were mentored right there in my living room. Right there in my living room. I was talking to one today. I was talking to Bishop today. Right? We was laughing and joking. I know him on a personal level. But what happened to me was I became, what's up, Larry? I see you. Peace, my brother. What happened with me was I became very resentful and rebellious. And follow the story here. In the Bible, they talk about miracles in the Bible. There's a lot of stories about miracles. How Jesus let the blind man see. Moses saved the Israelites, and the sea parted, and right before Pharaoh and them could get to him, the water came over and drowned Pharaoh and them out, right? Last minute heroics. So I prayed my prayer for my dad to make it, but my father died. So when you teach a child something, a child tends to believe you very innocently. So when my father died, I became very resentful, and I took to the streets, man. And look, it was the 80s, the mid 80s in Jamaica, Queens. So what I started doing, I started getting involved in everything that's going on, from smoking weed to drinking to hustling, selling drugs, using drugs. Started hanging out. I stopped cutting school. I stopped playing football. You know, me and Trev, right, Trev? Yo, man, we played football for years. I stopped doing the things that I used to like, and I started engaging into adult things. But what happened was, as I began to take on this new way of life, not a way of life that I wasn't taught at home. I wasn't taught this at home. I wasn't. I was raised with a good family. But now I started taking to a different set of values in the street. And I developed different habits. And see, let me explain something to you about habits. You know, habits are formed and addictions are formed because you do something every day over and over and over and over again. It becomes a habit. A habit becomes an addiction. So what happened to me was I became addicted to the streets. My first addiction, I was addicted to the streets. Oh man, being on Farmers Boulevard, Guy Brewer Boulevard. I started hanging out on 150th Street and 90th Avenue. Rochdale was popping. I mean, come on, that's back when Rochdale was Rochdale. It was crazy back then. Queens itself was crazy. Hip hop was now newly on the scene. You know, we started wearing different clothes. I got addicted to the whole lifestyle. Being out in the streets, hanging out, we going out of town, making money. You know, my friends is out there making money. My mom can't keep me up with the latest fashion. You know, yeah, my mother spoiled me. She bought me stuff, but she couldn't keep me up to date how my friends that was doing illegal things were staying up to date. So what? I started doing illegal things too. And what did that lead to? That led to being in and out of institutions, juvenile delinquent, cutting school, not going to school, in and out of jail, in and out of Rikers Island, at a time where it wasn't popular to be from Queens. So you know what that was like. But I'm a barbarian. I handled it. Right? So then, you know, so that's what began to happen. And when you do something long enough, it seems like it becomes a part of you. So then I got older. As I grew up, you know, some of these habits, some of these things follow you. Some of these addictions, some of these ways of thinking, they don't just float away into the sky. They stay there. Some of these things are hard to shake. Some of these lifestyles are hard to shake. And it was hard for me to shake. Now I'm getting older. I'm settling down. I got married. I got kids coming. Now I'm starting to have kids. But what happened is, you know, I'm having children, and part of me saying, yo, I got to grow up and live a little different, but I still got those same street mentality that was kind of there. You know, I'm missing the moving and the shaking and the smoking and the tooting, right? Because I went through a lot of painful experiences. And part of the reason why I needed to intoxicate myself, because I did things out there that weighed on me. They haunted me. You know, and not only, you know, I knew, yo, my father didn't raise me to be like how I was. So I knew I wasn't living up to the standards that my family had for me. that I wasn't doing the things that I was taught in church, the things that I was taught by football coaches, the things that I was taught by family members. I wasn't living up to that. So the shame and guilt, anybody know about shame and guilt? I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but anybody know about shame and guilt? Shame and guilt will kill you. So I had a lot of shame and guilt of who I became. So then what do you do to master feelings of shame and guilt? I need more intoxication. I need more 40s. I would wake up in the morning and walk and get a 40 ounce first thing in the morning, me and some of my boys. I see you, Butch. What's up? Yeah, you're right. My boys will ring my intercom. I grew up in Rochdale, like I said, Jamaica, Queens, ring my intercom. Yo, come on, first thing in the morning, walk and get a 40. Drinking a 40 before school. So I developed habits, and habits become addictions. And I was forming addictions and didn't know that I was forming it. You want to know when you're addicted to something? And it could be anything. If you're a female, you could become addicted to a guy. You're a female, you could become addicted to shopping. Become addicted to sex. You can become addicted to gambling. Huh? You become addicted to pain. You know, if you keep having painful situations in your life, you could become addicted to pain, that when things get peaceful, you won't want them peaceful. Oh, yeah. So I was forming habits and becoming addicted and didn't know I was becoming addicted. I was becoming addicted to the streets. I was becoming addicted to drugs, alcohol, being intoxicated, hanging out, being on the scene, having to be known, having a reputation. I became addicted to what people thought about me. Yeah, that's an addiction. We're going to talk tonight because we got to get into insight, because some of this stuff still plagues us just on deeper, sneakier levels. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. And the topic is from defeat to victory, and little hinges swing big doors, because we're going to get into the little things, that because everybody's looking for the big move, but nobody wants to do the little things, the little hinges that swing big doors. I'm talking about being addicted, right? Growing up and messing up and making mistakes and crushing people's hopes and dreams in me, making my mother cry. My mother crying when she was coming to pick me up from the precinct, and I can't go home with her. Huh? Becoming institutionalized from group home to group home. Huh? Drug treatment program to drug treatment program. Huh? Because you know when you get cases in court, how do you get out of it? You know, if you got a good lawyer, a good family, you get out of doing big time by saying, yo, man, I was using that stuff. You know, you was selling it, but I was selling and using. Selling and using. There was time where I had 4 open cases in Supreme Court at one time. That's me. That's my history. So the question that was asked to me, well, Malik, who are you? I'm giving you a background of who I am. And it's a painful past. It's a dark past. I didn't just land here, but we're going to get to how I got here. And what we're going to do on this show is the people that come on this show, they're going to talk about, I'm doing some interviews with people. We're professional up here. I'm sending out questionnaires. We got people that's going to come on. We're going to go from the darkness to the light to provide inspiration and resources. So here I am. Now I get older. Let me set the stage. I got kids. Okay. Boy and a girl at the time. My other son is on his way. Some of my friends are just coming home from prison. They still want to be into the old stuff. Part of me is saying, yo, Malik, you got to leave that old past behind. but another part of me still likes to feel. It's sort of like being a football player, like a professional basketball player. You know, when the crowd roars from you, it's something about the love from the streets, the so-called love. But I remember that in that movie Paid in Full, where Outpost said, yo, you love the streets, but the streets don't love you back. Huh? And I thought it was all love. And yeah, there's people out there who we share serious bonds, man, and we've been through some stuff together. But I'm talking about the streets as a whole don't love you back. It don't love you back. And I was still addicted to the feeling, the false illusion. I was more addicted to what people thought of me, that I almost died out there to keep up a certain image. And I was dying on the inside, and I was close, man. I was having a talk with a friend of mine that's coming on this show, and he said that one day, and I don't want to give away his story because his story is powerful, man. You know, he's in the pre-interview process and he's going to be coming on the show. But he said a voice came to him when he was in the streets in Brooklyn. A voice came to him and said, "You gonna die today." And I heard those voices. I had those experiences where I could just feel like, yo, Malik, if you keep going the way you going, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, man. And it got real dark and real scary. So now I'm trying to change my life, but now I got these habits that turned into addictions. I don't know if anybody ever have an addiction, man. When you got thought processes and you got ways about yourself that you just can't shake, and you want to shake it, but you just can't shake it. And you try your hardest to shake it, but you just can't shake it, and it's killing you. And I knew I needed to change, but I just couldn't because these new ways about me had a stranglehold on me, and it was smothering me. But there's grace, there's mercy, right? And so in me saying that I can't live like this anymore, there was a surrender that happened. I counsel a lot of people to this day. I spiritually mentor and help a lot of people to this day. And the thing that has to happen is, in any area, I gotta surrender to the fact that I don't have the answers. And I can't solve this. And it's called relying on God. And it's through that, there was a bunch of small little things. Now, I gave you the prep from my past, right? But now on this road to recreating my life, there's a lot of small things that I had to do. And then I had to realize who I wasn't. And we're going to get to, because this is leading to little hinges swinging big doors. So it's the little things, a day at a time, that created this stage and this platform that I'm on now. But watch me. A lot of those same little things I still do to this day. Because it's the process of change that I get incremental progress that shapes and changes my beliefs. That in lies where the mental shift happens. You know, there's a saying, if you aim to have a successful day every day, chances are you will have a successful life. Successful days. So this week, I might have 4 successful days. 4 successful days, right? Successful days turn into successful weeks. Successful weeks turn into successful months. Successful months turn into successful years. Successful years turns into a successful life. Everybody wants to find success, and they think that if I arrive at this place, and it's usually based on an exterior setup. It's based on an exterior setup. So the exterior setups that I find, that people are telling me that people are looking for is the right job, right money, the right kind of mate in my life, driving the right car, right kind of house, living in the right neighborhood. And that's having the cart before the horse. It don't go that way. Follow me. The slow process of changing my life. First, I have to open myself up to help. There's help out there. And a lot of y'all are walking around so sick in different areas, you just don't want to get help. And it's a plague in the Black community. It's a plague. You got people who've been through traumatic experiences as children, traumatic experiences as adults that just don't want to go get help. Go get help. Let the help you, and don't tell the help how to help you. Because if you had the answers, right? If you had the answers, you would have it all together. So if you don't have the answers, you can't possibly be the solution. It talks in the Bible about how a sick mind can't heal a sick mind. Satan can't cast out Satan. And I'm not getting too religious on you. I'm just getting real. Accept the help. Then I had to put people in your life that are thinking like you. So I got to kind of shift away from the old settings. That's changing my environment. The environment has to be conducive for change. Yes, I mastering the first hour of the day, the first hour and the last hour. If I win the first hour of the day and I win the last hour of the day, I guarantee you would have had a successful day. Radical self-care is quantum, and it's my gift to the world. Radical self-care. So I got to really take time out to keep an eye on Malik and to help Malik. So in me identifying what I'm not, who am I not? And a lot of ways I can see who I'm not by looking at who I've become and realizing that that's not really me. I've become something I'm not. And follow me. That's where inner pain, inner lack of self-confidence, inner turmoil is, because I'm trying to walk in an existence that I'm not supposed to be walking in, because this person that I'm operating as isn't me. And that's the source of all inner discontent. And your body will give you triggers. Your body will let you know, yo, Malik, this ain't good. Malik, this person ain't good for you. Malik, she ain't good. Malik, he ain't good. Malik, this business opportunity isn't good. And you want to know the difference between the voices? I'm going to tell you the difference between the voices. The difference between the voice of your inner consciousness or your flesh that wants to rule you, which is weak. Inner consciousness will say it once, and it'll kind of like nudge in your soul. They used to call it belly flipping. If it's the flesh talking that wants to drive me to do things that's not healthy for me, it'll keep trying to convince me. Just try to be aware of it. As you get better with praying, with meditation, you can be more aware of it. So let's continue with the transformation. So day in and day out, the process of change is painful at best. It's painful. But in order for me to grow, I gotta shed my old skins. I was watching the Discovery Channel, and this big anaconda, it gets still for days. It gets still for days when it's shedding. It's shedding its old skin. But why does it have to shed its old skin? It has to shed its old skin because it wants to grow. And in order for it to grow, it has to shed its old skin. What the commentator was talking about, the commentator said, he said, that's the time when the anaconda or any reptile is at its most vulnerable state. So what happens is when it's time, and I thought about that when he said that, I said, oh, wow, that's deep. I get it. The difference between humans and anacondas is they have to follow their instinct. So they have to sit through the experience and let their skin shed. They don't have too much of a choice. If they don't do it, they'll die. They got to shed the skin because the dead skin will sit on them and it will suffocate them so they won't breathe. And they can't hunt that way. They don't have a choice. With humans, that's the difference between us and anacondas. We have a choice. So when we're in that process of shedding our old ideas and thoughts and concepts and behavior and things that make us feel good, but they really not its purpose anymore. We know they're not good for us, but we're still hanging on. So when we go through our process of letting go, what happens to a lot of us is we feel vulnerable. Because a lot of times in letting go, I'm at my most vulnerable state when I'm letting go. Just like the anaconda, when it's shedding its skin, it's at its most vulnerable state. But humans have the ability of choice. So what do? We stop the process of change because we don't want to let go. And we can get halfway through the process. We can get 3/4 away through the process of change. You want to know how I know? Because I've done it. I've done it. There was times where I almost saw myself at the finish line. I felt myself changing. But different things happen when you let go and you're feeling vulnerable, like the anaconda shedding its skin. Huh? But what happens is I've reached a point where I have reference points because I've gone through situations where I've allowed the process of change to happen. And as a result of me allowing the process of change to happen, painful as it is, change is painful sometimes. I remember my father, Claude Turnage. I want to give you a story, man. I remember we was in the kitchen, man. And Claude Turnage, man. Yeah, my father, I'll tell you, he was something. And so we're sitting in the kitchen, and my mother made, my mother's back when I used to eat pork, so nobody laugh at me. My mother made pork chops, mashed potatoes, and spinach. She made the shake and bake pork chops. Who remembers shake and bake? Remember the shake and bake commercials? She made shake and bake pork chops. So my father's sitting there, he had the paper. I'm going to demonstrate. So my father's sitting there, he's reading the paper up in front of his face, right? He's sitting there. And I know he's always paying attention to what's going on. And he said, he looked on from the side of the paper, he looked, he said, Malik, Make sure you eat your spinach. And went back in front of the paper. I said, yeah, Daddy, I'm eating my spinach. So, I'm eating the pork chop, the gravy on the mashed potatoes. I ate the mashed potatoes. I didn't think he was looking because he had the paper up. Right? He had the paper up. So I went. I'm trying to tiptoe real slowly to the garbage to throw the spinach out. And he put it down. He said, Malik, I told you to eat your spinach. So I go back and sit down, and my mother's witnessing this whole thing. She's on the phone. Yeah, girl, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah. She's talking on the phone. She's doing some things around the stove. And I'm sitting there at the table pouting. And my father said to me, I never forget this. He said, Malik, you're going to eat your spinach hot. You can eat your spinach cold, but you're going to eat your spinach. So my mother said, you want me to warm it back up? So my mother warmed it back up, and I'm sitting there, and he said, you can let it get cold if you want to. So it wasn't a question, follow me. It wasn't a question of whether I was eating the spinach or not. That's not what was up for debate. What was my decision was how I was going to eat the spinach. And that's what I've learned through allowing myself to go through processes. Now I welcome the process of change. I welcome the pain. I embrace it because it's all about my attitude. And I know it's going to be good for me. So I embrace it. Bring it on. But that's from reference points. Why? Because I want to grow. And now I look at it as I don't have a choice whether I'm going to grow or not, whether I'm going to be obedient to God, whether I'm going to be obedient to what the universe is bringing my way and how I'm being led. I told y'all about how I got called for the train operator's position for MTA right after I was going to start this podcast. I'm looking back now. It was all a test. It was all a test. I see it clear. And there's nothing wrong with being a train operator. Shout out to my train operator dudes, man, MTA dudes. And I was in school car for 4 months. But it was two things revealed to me. And I counsel with people because I've learned how to go through processes. I've learned how to not depend on myself. So I talk to people. I seek wise counsel. I don't just run around doing things on my own. And I could tell you where you're going to go by who you got in your life and who you talk to, who you're listening to. That's a question. And we're talking about the little things. These are all a bunch of little things that add up. The little hinges that swing big doors. And I was in school car for 4 months. And there was times that I didn't want to go. School car is tough. I don't know if anybody's ever been through the process. It's tough, man. Two things happened to me. One, I realized that I was a businessman. I've been I talked about my past. I talked about my street past at the beginning of this show. And we were talking in a production meeting, and it's like, yo, they want me to just leave the show with my past. And that's what I'm going to do. My spirit is telling me, yo, man, I'm just going to be transparent and be who I am. I'm going to start out the show with my past. Every show. That's going to be my introduction. That's going to be my bio on the website. So, you know, I'm in school car, and the other thing that came was that, Malik, I want you to do the podcast. You want to know why I was saved? You want to know why I wasn't murdered like a lot of my friends in the streets of Jamaica, Queens? I did the same things they did. You want to know why I wasn't doing 50 years to life or 25 to life along with some of my other friends? You want to know why I didn't make it that night to the Green Acres movie theater to meet my friend Lawrence Bartley, who's still serving a 27 and a third year prison sentence right now? I spoke to him today. I never made it to meet them on Merrick Boulevard, and him and the whole crew was out there waiting for me. True story. True story. You want me to tell you the story? Here it go. 1990. Maybe it had to be 90. Huh? The year before, I was in juvenile detention. I wasn't home for Christmas. I was serving an 18-month sentence in juvenile detention, selling narcotics. That's my story, right? So now I'm home this Christmas, and I caught myself going to meet Jakim, Lawrence Bartley, and all of them. Caught myself going to meet them. We was going to catch the 6:30 show. This was my plan. This was my best thinking at the time. My daughter was I guess going on 2 at the time. This was my first Christmas home with them. I'm at the elevator, and my girlfriend at the time and my daughter, they were at the elevator with me. My daughter's a little baby, and my mother comes to the elevator and she goes, Malik, where you going? And I said, yeah, I'm going to meet Lawrence and them at the movie theater. We're going to catch the 6:30 movie. And the movie's about 3.5 hours long. It'll be over about 10. I'm gonna hop on the van and come home. I'll be home in time to bring New Year to bring Christmas in with my daughter. And this is Christmas Eve. I tell you, man, I was so sick, man. Oh God, I was so sick. I was sick. Yeah, the night of Godfather 3, Saeed, I was sick. But that was the best I could come up with. But listen, follow. So my mother, some of y'all know my mom. Mother was a religious, spiritual person. Mother didn't drink or smoke, none of that. She might take a drink here and there, special occasion. My mother sat at that elevator. She looked at me. She said, this is your first Christmas Eve home with your daughter, and you're going to meet your friends at the movie theater? She said, if you get on that elevator, don't never come back to this house. You no good nigga. I never heard my mother talk like that. She called me and the way she said it. And let me tell you something. This is like the scene from a movie, and I'm not engaging in hyperbole right now. I want you to follow me. The elevator opened, and I looked at the elevator. It seemed like an eternity. It seemed like an eternity. The elevator door opened. I looked my girlfriend in her eyes. I looked my daughter in her beautiful, innocent eyes. I looked over to the door, to my mother standing there frowning. And I looked at the elevator again. And I watched the elevator door close. Listen to me. The elevator door closed. And I went back in the house. And I'm sitting in the house. And, I'm feeling like I'm missing something, man. I'm feeling like I'm missing everything. And they called me on the phone. picked up the phone, and my friend Lawrence, the one that's still in jail right now, 27 years later, I spoke to him on the phone today. He said, he knew me well enough, my best friend. He said, Malik, what is it? It's your mother, right? Because Tracy's over there, right? I said, yeah. He said, don't worry about it. We're going to come over after the movie theaters. Anybody from Queens, anybody from New York City, you know what happened that night. I don't have to get into details. The bottom line is the movie theater was shot up, riddled with gunshot shells. Someone died. Other people were shot. They came over my house afterwards. It's by the grace of God that I wasn't there. See? So when I look back over my life and I look back over stories, when I look back over times when I was in Queens Hospital, in the critical care unit, they trying to operate on me. And I hear the doctor saying, we're losing them. We got to stop the blood. We're losing them. I thought about that when it was time to do the podcast. And the call from MTA was a test. Now, let me tell you what the test was about. Let me tell you how hard it was. How hard it was is, listen, I own businesses. I'm doing very well in my life. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying 401k, I don't really need this money. I can work here and just bank this money. I'm going to be paid. I'm going to be chilling. I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, man, I could save that money for 20 years and have $1 million. Maybe even 2 million just stash. That's besides the money I'm making from the business. And something inside of me said, that's not why I saved you. Because if it was just about you sailing off into the sunset, being paid, I could have let you die. I could have let you die in all those instances where I got you through. I saved you to do the show. You got to help people spiritually. I've put something in you that's going to help shape and lives of others. So that's why we talk about, from defeat to victory. What is defeat? And what is victory? What is failing? Do I really fail when I try? Or do I learn the lessons? And if I learn the lessons, is that really failure when I don't achieve a so-called goal? The engineer from NASA, the rocket scientist, he was talking about how, everybody thinks we're geniuses and we're not. If they saw all the times we didn't get it right, I don't think they would think we was as smart as they think we are. Because we fail more than we succeed, but it depends on what you view failure as and what you view success as. Because if I try and I don't reach my goal, you know what that tells me? I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I can sniff it. I can smell it. And what is success? Success is the process. Because there's actually no arrival point. The place of arrival is an illusion that's never attained. That's why you got so many people walking around unhappy. because they think there's this magical Puff Daddy, Oprah, LeBron James place. They think there's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it's not. It's the journey that's the juice. The journey's the juice. The ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, the hard times, the good times, the long stretches of tough times, the times when I feel like I'm not being understood, the times when I feel like I'm all alone, that nobody understands. Huh? Come on, there ain't times if you think you in this whole thing alone, talk to me. And nobody's really getting it. Yeah. If you're really living, you feel that way. But you know, it's those times. It's the times where I feel like I'm all alone that I'm really actually finding out deeper truths about me. And it's the process that changes my beliefs. Because when I do something and I go through something I didn't think I can get through, it reshapes the neurons and the electrons in my psyche. And I'm never the same after that. When you allow, like the anaconda, for the skin to shed so that you can grow, you will never, ever be the same. Ever. Who am I was the question that was posed. Yo, Malik, you did a show about who am I? Well, who are you? That's what was asked for me. And I like that. Thanks. I like that. And guess what? I'm a accumulation of all of it. I'm the Malik when I was 30. I'm the 21 Malik. I'm the 22 Malik. I'm the 23 Malik. Huh? I'm the 31 Malik. I'm the 34 Malik. I'm the 35 Malik. I'm the 10 years old Malik. I'm the 15 Malik. You know, and it depends on how you catch me. You could catch either one at any time. You know, I could give it to you how you want it. I could be anyone in any time. Not exactly the same way. Huh? I'm a total sum of all of it. And you want to know what the sum total of all of it tells me? That, yo, man, if I could go through that, I could get through this. And guess what? You know, I know who I am. And I'm not necessarily who you say I am. Cause, you know, right? I'm not necessarily who you say I am. And so, you know, a deep question that I like to pose to people as you walk this walk: are you a thermometer or a thermostat? You see, because the thermometer will tell you the temperature in any given place, in any given room, but the thermostat sets the temperature. Which one are you? Are you about fire maintenance or fire prevention? Because if you're about fire maintenance, you're just maintaining the destruction and trying to keep it at a lower level. If you're about fire prevention, you want to prevent the fire from happening. And that's why in my private life, I have to practice things, because what you practice in private, you're going to see in public, and you'll be awarded for it. What you practice in private, you'll be awarded for it in public. So when people ask, yo, man, yo, you're doing good, and I'm so proud of you. And wow, what you're seeing is my years and years of the days where I was sitting still, I was learning, I was reading, I was practicing things in my private life that has, yes, it has given me outward rewards, but don't confuse it, because I don't have it backwards. What you see is a result of what's really there. There's a saying, the truth is the proof, and the proof is the fruit. And what kind of fruit do I bear on my tree? What kind of fruit are you bearing? Because the results of the manifestation of the fruits goes back to my ideas and concepts and what I think about myself. Because true courage is suffering through the process of change and allowing myself to go through it. And I want to leave you with that. I want to leave you with the hope of trusting the progress of the process. And it's through the process that my beliefs change. And now I start to look at people, and I start to look at people different. And I'm not as judgmental. It brings about more qualities. It brings about qualities of patience, tolerance, kindness, love, affection, understanding, forgiveness, which gives me tranquility, peace, and serenity. And that's ultimately healthy for me. And then it's through the peace, the tranquility, the happiness, the understanding, the patience, and the tolerance that I'm able to make decisions that will give me fruitful results. So my inward practices, I get awarded for. And I really want to encourage you to like my page at Conversations with Malik. Go to my webpage and like the page, because I'm going to be always putting on inspirational. I'm being led to maybe doing Malik's morning motivations 5 days a week. And so we'll see what happens with that. And if I do it, I'm going to announce it. I'm going to stick to it, where I do something for a half hour in the morning. So when you get up in the morning, you could just put me right on, Listen, peace and blessings. I hope y'all got something out of this tonight. But until then, I'll see you. Stay safe. Peace.